everyone, welcome back to the Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge. I am Clary and I've been with you throughout this first week of challenges. Now is week number 2 and we are on our 6th challenge. Thank you so much for joining me. I can see so many amazing familiar faces. Paco, how's it going? Alberto, Sam, Onder, Damian, Marisa, Jordan, thank you so much for joining me today. It's a pleasure to be with you for our challenge number 6. Happy Tuesday, everyone. I hope you guys had a good start of the week. Yesterday, we had fun with our challenge. It was very amazing to see your mock-up on Discord. But let's guide those of you who are here for the first time to join our challenge. All you have to do is to dive in our behance.net/challenge/Photoshop. This is our daily creative challenge landing page. It's a fantabulous place where you find a ton of information regarding the challenges. First thing that you have to do is click on this big blue button here in order to take the challenge. As you can see, mine says chat with the community because I've already joined the challenge last week. So what else happens once you take the challenge? You're going to receive an email that's going to remind you of the new daily challenge, and then you'll be able to join this amazing community chat, which is Discord. Discord is a place where you can meet creatives from all over the world, students, professional, photographer, graphic designers. Everyone who's going to take part to the daily creative challenge is welcome in this space in order to talk about Photoshop, show their design. And as you can see here on the left, we have different channels where you can do so. The channel current challenge is where we're going to be posting the work that we produce every single day in order to get reviewed by the streamers that come after me during the amazing Adobe live streams. Also, you can check more about past challenges in this other challenge, and you can ask a question or submit your portfolio for review. Discord is an amazing place where we can get feedback. And as I always said, this is a safe space. So don't worry about getting your work finished, your work perfectly done. It's not about showing off perfection. It's about collecting other people's ideas and also looking at other people's way of approaching the challenge. I find it personally very inspiring. But let's see if there is any question on the chat. Alberto, you like the hair? Yes, I had no time to do anything with them today, so I literally let them flow free. See, I'm so glad that you are enjoying it. I'm so glad that you are enjoying it. All the new Photoshop skills and all the techniques that we are sharpening here. It's a pleasure to have you here, Chad, Riyadh, and so many familiar faces. Thank you so much for being back. Thank you so much, Sue, and thank you so much for joining us. So let's get started with today's challenge. As you can see from our main landing page, we can scroll down. So again, if you just tuned in, behance.net/challenge/Photoshop. If you tune in, you can see that here we have just updated our challenge number 6. Today we're going to be working into Camera Raw, and we're going to see the difference between color correction and color grading. Now let's jump into Photoshop and make sure that you download your started file here by clicking on Get Started. Although you do not have to start with my file, this is something that I share with you just to make sure that you have some tools to get started and some assets. This you're gonna see is a photo that I took during my holiday. Feel free to use yours. And also, if this is the first time that you're actually joining us and trying to have a go at Photoshop, remember that you can download the app at the bottom of the page where it says Get Adobe Photoshop. You'll be able to download the app for free for a trial. And if one challenge is not enough and you're really enjoying and getting inspired by this daily dose of Photoshop skills, you can get more challenges here in the Explore Past Challenges, where my fellow streamers Voodoo Val, Jesus Ramirez, and of course Kathleen Martin have been sharing with you all their amazing tips and tricks in Photoshop. But let's get started. Hopefully by now you have downloaded the starter file. Remember, all you have to do is click here on Get Started in order to do so. And if you have done it, I will drag and drop it into Photoshop. I've just done so a moment ago, and I opened my file, which is this photo. I'm gonna jump back in the chat to see if there is any question. Yes, it's about creativity, diversity, inclusion, and acceptance. I really like this one, Abraham. I really, really like it. Thank you so much for sharing this amazing value with us, because this is what the chat is about. It's about inclusion, it's about diverse work, and it's about acceptance of our own mistakes. And that's something why it's very important to share your work, because it's very good to learn how to accept feedback at a very early stage. But again, thank you so much to joining me. Jennifer, you're asking me what is that in the photo. So this is a photo that I took during one of my latest trip in Valencia. It's called La Ciudad de la Ciencia, which is the city of science. It's a gorgeous architectural pavilion where you can see this amazing building built on top of a swimming pool. So they have created amazing reflection with the water. Now, today we're going to be talking about color grading, and I want to make clear the difference between color correction and color grading in Photoshop, in particular in Camera Raw. When we talk about color correction, we're going to try to neutralize the image in order to make it look like as possible as the real environment that we have pictured and that we have seen, so as close to reality as possible. So we're going to try to avoid color casting and really neutralize all the tones of the image. Well, with color grading, we are going to be very creative. In fact, color grading allows us to tell a story. And in order to make sure that I share with everyone, especially with those who join us today, which story we're going to tell, I'm going to jump back into one of the previous challenges, which was creating our dreamland. If you have joined me from day one, you will see that the entire theme of these challenges was about creating this ethereal paradise, which is my dream destination. Of course, some of you have shared your dreamland, and please, if you have already started your theme, feel free to follow through and to make adjustments that are relevant for your own dreamland. So my dreamland is made of tones of blue and magenta. As I say, on the first day, almost felt as if I fell into a bucket of cotton candy and everything looks like blue and pink. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna try to tell a story and convey a story that these these buildings are here in my dreamland. So everything's gonna have to look blue and magenta. How do we do so? First thing that you want to do once you open your image into Photoshop is to create a smart object. You do that by pressing Control and click on the side of your layer and convert into a smart object. It is very important that you remember to do so, because that's how you work, not distractively. Then I'm gonna go into Filter and open Camera Raw Filter right here. If you remember, on challenge number 2, we've been working on Lightroom, and now we're gonna see how do we access all these adjustments within Photoshop. Let me see if there is any other question. Clarissa, the starter file button is not there. Where am I get a starter file? Okay, so I'm sure that they are going to make the button work, but for the meantime, if you wanna work with me, what I can do is to share my file into current challenge. And I'm gonna go into Discord, click on plus. It's also a way to show you how you can share your images into Discord. And here it is, challenge number 6, starter file. And feel free to use. Here we go. So I hope that helped, Clarissa. If the link doesn't work, you have the starter file on your Discord current challenge channel here. And I'm gonna go back into Photoshop. So hopefully that solves everyone's problem. Remember, as soon as you open it, create a smart object in order to work non-distractively. And the image at the moment is a little bit tilted. So the first thing that I'm gonna do is to go into our upright adjustment, and I'm gonna click on these little guys here, these little strokes, which are the custom adjustment, and that allow me to create lines on top of my image in order to straighten the vertical and horizontal axis, just like so. So as you can see, what I'm doing is simply dragging vertical and horizontal line on top of my image in order to make sure that I can work with these axis in order to get my image straightened. So I'm really gonna go and trying to find all the vertical and horizontal line in order to make sure that I straighten the image as much as I can. Of course, you can also use the A letter, which is an automatic adjustment. I like to use my custom control to have more freedom within my adjustment. And you can go ahead and play with those if it makes you feel comfortable. Otherwise, if it's something that it looks a little bit too much as a starting point to work with the upright, the automatic adjustment works just brilliantly. Once you're happy and once you straighten your image, all you have to do is click on this magnifying glass in order to access your basic global adjustment. So I'm gonna start by giving the image a little bit more shadows by bringing down this shadows handle here, and then giving it a little bit more of texture, which makes all the details pop up. I'm also gonna bump up the D8s because it looks like as if I have a little bit of a white light reflection that I'm gonna be able to get rid of thanks to taking off the aids of an image with the D-haze. And I'm gonna jump straight into my HSL adjustment. And you will see in a second why I've made my shadow darker, and I'll probably do the same with my highlights as well. I really want to get as much shadow as possible in order to create this color grading. And what I'm gonna do once I jump into my HSL adjustment, which are our hue, saturation, and luminance. Hue stands for color, so what color something is, as you can see. Saturation is how intense that color is, and luminance is how brilliant and bright that color is, or darker. We are gonna start with the saturation. So I really wanna choose one first color. In this case will be my magenta. And I'm gonna use these red, purples, and magentas to keep and transform into my magenta color. So what I'm gonna do is to bring all the other tint that we don't need down into -100 in order to completely desaturate the image in those levels. And we're gonna use all the shadow to create a second color that we want. Then we're gonna go into luminance, and the same color, remember the same color that you brought down into saturation, we're also gonna make them darker because you really wanna get a lot of those shadow into our image in order then to colorize them. In fact, our next step will be to go in split toning. Split toning allows us to apply a color to both our highlights and our shadows. For this photo, I decided to use the shadows as my second color. So all I have to do is to pick a hue, which is a color that I want to apply, and then start to build in the saturation. This looks fairly like the color that I used during my dreamland. It's a beautiful blue, and it really looks like we are getting some lovely result here with the blue. And then I'm gonna jump back into my hue, saturation, and luminance adjustment in order to change that red into a more pinky magenta. What I really wanted to convey, the story that I'm gonna tell with this color grading, is that this magical location is part of my dreamland. And that's why I really wanna match the color in order to make sure that fits all the beautiful advert that we have created in these challenges. Let me see if there is any other question in the chat. Just people saying hello and talking about the Citizen Art of Science in Valencia. Yes, Paco is absolutely beautiful. I spent an entire evening just walking around, mesmerized about this lovely building. But let's continue into this challenge. So I'm really going to try to move this magenta tone into a more pinkish tone, and I'll do so by really moving all my slider that I left saturated, which are the reds, the purples, and the magenta, into a pink location as possible through my hue. And also I'm gonna make it a little bit lighter because we're really trying to achieve more of a pinkish look. Now this look a little bit perhaps too saturated, so what I can do is to go into my red and desaturate them a bit, and especially my purple, and then go back into my global basic edits and take the saturation a little bit down here, and maybe a little bit the contrast as well. So it starts to really give that feel of our dreamland, or at least my dreamland, which was this ethereal paradise. I have still few minutes so I can show you a little bit more in depth about these camera raw edits. In fact, after you have colorized and created your color grading, applying these color styles to your image, we can go a little bit more in depth and apply some local edits. So the first thing that I'm gonna do is that I really want to bring the attention into the center of this image, and I can do so by clicking on this ellipse, which is a local edits, that allow us to create an area where we want to move our edits. And you can see here, if we click on mask here, we will apply the mask. You can see where is actually applying the edits. What I usually do when I apply a local adjustment, I always go back into this flying menu and I make sure that I reset my color correction, because I don't want that all the edits that I've already apply again. I just want to start from scratch. So that's why you do reset your local correction setting. And then I untick the mask because I really want to see where and how my adjustments are applied. So what I'll do here, I will perhaps bring the highlights a little bit up just to create a center and use this beautiful shape that is in the middle of the image to capture the attention, and maybe open the exposure a little bit more, just like so. Once you're happy with the result, all you have to do is to go back into our magnifying glass. And then in order to bring in even more the focus towards the center of the image, I'm going into my effects and I'm gonna bring some vignetting on the darker side, because as you can see, if we bring it on the other side, we have a brighter vignette, while I want a darker edges because I really want to convey the center of the attention towards the center of the image to make it more dramatic as well. What I will do also is to open the feather a little bit, just because I want it to be how lovely the vignette comes in without being too harsh. Now let's go back into our global edits and make sure that we are happy with the final result. What I'm gonna do today with this image, I'm gonna import it into Behance. That's something that we didn't do in this past day, but it's nice to keep our Behance up to date, especially because you can use our amazing keyword in order to have your work reviewed throughout the Behance page. So once you're happy with this result and with your color grading, press OK. And because we've been using as smart object and we have applied the filter to the smart object, as you can see here, you can toggle visibility back and forth from our image. Isn't that an amazing change? I'm gonna jump back in the chat and see if there is any other question. Is there any ways to use a color picker to direct your color? That's a very good question. Let me see. I don't think so, because when you open, let's open again Camera Raw filter. If you see, once we open Camera Raw filter, we have a completely different workspace and we are making the adjustment with our sliders. So you can use the color picker outside of Camera Raw, but not within Camera Raw. Unless someone knows differently, this is from my experience. If there is any more question, Toggle visibility. Okay, so I'm gonna press OK. And by the way, Mia, from my knowledge, the answer is no. There is no way of using the color picker. That is something that I will do once I accept my changes and I go back into outside of Camera Raw, the workspace. So someone else was asking, Lessa, how do I toggle visibility? Sure, let me zoom in for you. And here it is, this little eye icon here next to the filter. And all you have to do is click on the eye icon in order to bring visibility in or off. So it's on and off. If the eye is on, of course, we're able to see the changes that we made. And if we click in order to make it disappear, it disables our filter and we can see our original image. And all of this is because we are working with a smart object. That's why I say this is the very number one things to do, is to create a smart object in order to work non-distractively, so we always have access to our original image. So let's go now and save this image in order to post it into our Behance project. So all we have to do once you are done with your adjustment, and again, I've created this photo because I'm trying to tell a story which is part of my ethereal paradise dreamland. I look forward to see yours on Discord, and I'm very happy to see, especially if it's different. If it's the same, I welcome you guys into my paradise. We can share this ethereal paradise together. But in order to save the image, let's go into File, Export As. And I'm going to export as a JPEG because that's usually the best way to compress an image. As you can see here, I have quite a large file, is almost 7 megas. So I really want to make sure that we have a little bit of flexibility on the size. Maybe internet is not great. So we want to make sure that we can upload in a decent time. So the best thing that you can do is to bring the percentage down. I usually bring it around 60% and then click away to see how our file will be reduced. And as you can see, just by simply changing one detail, which is the percentage, and scaling our images, we come down to 1.7 mega, which I am, which is very comfortable to use for our Behance. I'm gonna click on export in order to save our JPEG file and put it into my desktop, and I'm gonna call this one final and press on save. I see that there are many other questions. Where was the local selection tool? So it's a local adjustment tool, William, and you find it by double clicking into Camera Raw. We can re-enter into our filter, and it was this circle up here. And just so you know, both the brushes, the gradient, and the circle, they're all local adjustment. Now, hopefully we do have literally 1 minute to see if we can upload our work on our Behance project. Let's go into our Behance profile. Oh, that's me talking. Let's go into my profile and let's see if we can edit our project here. If you already create a project just like me with our beautiful cover, all you have to do is to hover in this clockwork and click edit, and it's loading my project. And I've not kept up to date with all my projects, so this is definitely homework for today, uploading all the rest of the challenge. I'm gonna add test and call this one challenge number 6. And then click on upload file in order to upload my final that I found in my desktop or wherever you have saved your final, and click open. And here we go. Our beautiful final photo that is color graded is there into our project. Now, the reason why I wanted to take this minute to show you the two photos, because at the end of the project profile, we're gonna have a full advertising and marketing campaign for our amazing dreamland. I'm gonna have to say goodbye for today. I'm gonna follow back your question and your feedback into Discord. Make sure to go and join our community, because I'll be there to take care of all your design and Photoshop related question for today. So thank you so much for joining me today, and I'll see you tomorrow with challenge number 7. Bye, guys.